I'm Alex, he's Jim, and this is the Charging Status EV podcast. How you doing, Jim?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm alright, yeah.
Can I
all
say
good.
it's lovely to see your face again? It's been a whole week, but it feels like a lifetime.
I don't know how to react to that, to be fair.
That's probably the best way to go.
Fair enough. What have you been up to?
I've had the BMW i7. In fact, I'm waiting for it to be collected at the moment. It's about north of 160 grand, I think, in the trim
Jeez.
that I've got it in. And it feels like it's very much a £160,000 car. It's
Sweet.
absolutely glorious. I mean, I don't have a long checkered history with Bentleys and Rolls Royce and that kind of stuff, but I feel like this is the closest I've ever been. And of course, BMW owns Rolls Royce, and I dare say the electric Rolls Royce will be an i7 with a different lid on to a degree. But it's absolutely sensational. It's so comfortable. It's unbelievably fast, but you get no concept of the feeling of speed, really, which is unusual. And I did find some of the people listening may be aware of a stretch of the M3 if you're coming up from my part of the world towards London. You get just past Winchester services, and it's a dual carriageway for a while. And for some reason, that part of the M3 is always empty, but the rest of the M3 is always fairly full. And I've got no idea why. It's always puzzled me. It's one of life's great mysteries. And I took my son to Legoland the other day. He had an inset day, and we went up to Legoland. I hadn't checked the weather forecast before I booked the tickets, by the way. It was the hottest day of the year. Not a fantastic idea for a fat man with no hair. Anyway, yeah, I looked down, and I was exceeding the speed limit, I'm going to say.
Okay.
But I was completely unaware. Because, you know, there's nothing in front, so it's not like you're catching the traffic up. And in most cars, I feel like I could be within 3 mile an hour of telling you the correct speed just by the way it feels and what's going on around you. But you're just wafting along in silence. And, well, not in silence, actually, because my son was watching a Madagascar film on the 31-inch 8K TV that's in the back of the car.
I bet he was loving it.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, whilst having a massage by the seat. And, but what a wonderful car. And, like, the engineering that's gone into it is incredible. It's got all these different drive modes that, I mean, it's not a concept that's completely alien to us nowadays, but these drive modes really do change the whole feel of everything, from the drive to the way the cabin is, the amount of noise in the cabin even, from various things. The Hans Zimmer sounds that they've put in instead of engine sounds, particularly.
Yeah.
It's just so clever. Yeah, very, very clever.
Yeah. I'd imagine it's very, very isolating in that regard, based on what you just said. You sort of got no idea what's going on outside, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
which is good in 2025.
yeah. So you said 160 grand.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Wow.
I didn't actually get the price for the particular car I had, so I just jumped onto the website and spec'd it, and I think we were in that neighbourhood, and that's a neighbourhood that I'm not incredibly comfortable with.
Yeah.
I think they start at 101,000.
Which is bananas. Yeah.
But like that car that's sitting out there now, I bet in 3 years you can get one for 50. And unlike, say that was a 7 Series, so that would probably have like a 4-litre petrol engine in it or something. And in 3 years, you'll be able to get one of those for 40, 50 grand. But think of the running costs of that 7 Series. Think how much it will cost you just in fuel. And then the maintenance. I mean, you have a full service done on one of those, you could easily be strong 4 figures, you know.
Oh, yeah, easily, yeah.
Where that i7's still going to cost you next to nothing to run. So I don't know, I could see the day where you can go and get a ridiculously ostentatious car and then park it on your drive in your 70s council estate or housing estate, not council estate.
It is tempting, to be fair. I don't know if you saw that video from Johnny Smith. That he bought a Tesla Model S for £5.5
Yeah, I
grand.
did. Yeah.
And he posted the original list price. It was £101,000 back in whenever that car was launched.
I seriously looked into doing that when I bought my Say It Me.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking about getting a Model S, but they were just too much at the time for one with. I mean, I didn't want to get one with 280,000 miles or whatever because I didn't feel the need to make the. I've got the highest mileage car in the world, or the. And I just couldn't get exactly what I wanted for the budget I had. But it's very tempting. I still might do that one day because I really like the Model S, always have.
But yeah, it just goes to show how much they can. Not that it's a massive issue, but how they can lose value. I don't know if we've said on the podcast before, but I don't think you should buy a car as an investment.
No, but it's always the bigger the car, the harder they fall, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and those big land barge cars are always the worst for it. Like you look at Audi A8, and the money you can spend 150 grand on an A8, and after 3 years it's worth 40. And it's because there are limited numbers of buyers. It's really a chauffeur car, isn't it?
Yep. Nice though.
Oh, glorious.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been driving the Smart #3. I was about to say 1 then.
But you thought you were going to be driving the #1, didn't you?
Yeah. I don't know if this looks bad on my part, but I got in the car to take out for a spin, thinking it was the #1. I got back and looked at the back. I thought, oh, it's a #3. So, but it was sort of not long after I got up, so I'll blame that. But but yeah, decent car. There's not many of them on the road. I've never seen really a smart on the road before.
Do you know, I don't think I have.
No, maybe 1 or 2 in the past, but lovely looking car. Very, very unique in the interior because you feel very. It's almost like makes sense. It's almost like a Mercedes, but the cockpit's very high. The steering wheel's really nice. Yeah, I quite like it. But the only little downside with it is the ride's a little bit crashy.
Right.
But the infotainment works really well. Got that. I think I mentioned last week. Got the Fox sort of avatar on the screen. And, no, it all works well. So
it's a weird one, though, isn't it? Like, why don't we see more of them on? Have they just been priced too high, or have they not done a good enough job of getting the name out there? Because I must admit, even doing what I do, I sometimes forget they exist.
Yeah, I do think sometimes when a brand has done something in the past, so Smart Car have obviously been known for making those small city cars, and they use the same brand name and pivot 180 to do something else. That seems to upset some people sometimes. They think, oh, this isn't like what they used to be, but
it's a weird one as well, because although Smart had a terrible reputation for reliability, they had a really good reputation for the design, and they were really good, fun cars. I mean, I don't know if you've ever driven like a Smart 4.2. Even the original ones, I mean, they had no power or anything to speak of, but they were great fun and really well designed. Like there was an amazing amount of space in a 4.2, and they were quirky as hell, weren't they? And I think, it was designed by Swatch watches, and I think probably the person that buys a quirky Swatch watch is the customer they were going for, and they've sort of turned their back on it because it's now fairly conservative, quite smart in a literal sense. They are quite smart looking vehicles.
Yeah.
But they've lost the quirky aspect, I guess. Or maybe having the fox on the screen is how they're keeping it there.
The exterior is more sensible. Yeah. But the inside is quirky in a lot of ways. Whereas the software is all very... It is quite quirky, to be fair.
Yeah.
And the design of it looks quite nice, and the interior is quite clever in certain aspects. So I think there is still a quirky aspect, but the exterior is more sensible, I think.
So I think they did a smart electric car, didn't they? A Smart 4.2 electric car years ago, but I think it did hardly any miles, 40 miles.
I think Tesla had a hand in that.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah. Because I think back in the day, I think Mercedes used to own part of Tesla.
Right.
And I think Tesla helped them make the smart. I might have got that completely wrong, but that's roughly from what I remember. And then Tesla helped them make the electric smart car. So, but yeah, it had really bad range.
Yeah, so maybe that failed, and they thought we need complete redesign. But I guess part of the reason might be not enough space for battery. But then you'd think they'd be able to make it super efficient. I'd love them to do an electric smart roadster. That's the car. I'll tell you what. Out of my list of random cars that I want to own, a smart roadster's one of them. But again, I'm just not brave enough for the bills that come with it.
Yep.
And they're all at an age now where they could just go bang at any moment.
Oh yeah.
But I'd love one of those.
There's a lot of cars like that. There's a lot of cars that you just think, oh, I'll have one of those. But there's always some trade-offs with older cars sometimes. So, but yeah. But generally, I'm quite impressed. It is a shame that there aren't more of them around because they are quite funky. But I think we've said before on the show that as a nation we are quite sort of conservative in terms of being sort of unique when we buy cars. But yeah. Quite impressed.
Nice.
Yeah.
We've got Goodwood next week, haven't we?
I'm looking forward to that because it's the first time I've ever been, actually.
Our plan at the moment is to actually record a Goodwood episode, isn't it?
Yeah,
hope so. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's our plan anyway, but plans sometimes go out the window at Goodwood. I expect we're going to be tired and grumpy. I will be anyway. So, yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff planned. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff planned to launch there. I was just surprised how close we are to it. There's always stuff coming up. Like it's not EV related, but there's a new BYD 4x4 that's being rebranded from China. That's being launched there. There's new Honda electric cars. There's all sorts of things. So I'm planning on filming a little video for my channel about all the EVs that are on show because that'd be quite interesting, I think.
New MG as well. The new is it concept or a new production model?
There's 3 new cars going to be shown. There's an MG Black Edition. Sorry, MG Cyberster Black Edition.
Black, yeah.
The MG Cyber X, which was
that's
that
the
4x4.
SUV, isn't it?
Yeah, that was shown at Shanghai. And there's supposed to be this. Most of the automotive press seem to think it's an IM that's being brought over based on the rear design that they've teased.
Right, okay.
So that's probably what's going to be launched.
Well, whatever's being launched, I think I'm going up the hill in at
nice
10:30 or 11 o'clock or something. So
nice.
Yeah, that'll be a first for me, and it's a bucket list thing for me. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I might even be going up the hill again in the afternoon with someone else.
Oh,
so yeah, but I can't talk about that at the moment because I've potentially got a world exclusive. Apparently.
Oh my god!
I'm not sure why they'd give it to me. But
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
fair.
It must be like they've bought out a new mug or something.
Yeah.
We've got a new set of pencils.
Yeah.
With our logo on.
Yeah.
I
don't know what MG will do with the branding of IM because there was some rumours saying the IM by MG Motor UK. Which would be a weird brand name, but I'll see what they do with it. Yeah.
That would be very weird.
Yeah, or they might just brand it as MG and just
call it MG. Yeah, and have fun with it. But IM is from the IMs that I've poked around in and sat in, etc. They're a real cut above what we've seen over here from MG, so it might make sense just to give them a completely different. Why not just call them IM? It's not offensive, is it?
No, it's fine. Just these new brands seem to confuse people, which is fair. Even if it's explained properly. So
yeah,
because Denza's coming here soon with their new GT car. I think it's like a sort of. It's like a Taycan Cross Turismo sort of thing, like a shooting brake kind of car. So, but I don't know how. I don't know. It's kind of a marketing thing, isn't it? It's making sure that the people understand what the brand is and what it means. But
yeah, absolutely. We should shout out our chum Jonathan Porterfield for buying himself a brand new Tesla Model Y.
Oh yeah,
I think maybe his first new car ever. I don't know.
Don't know.
But I saw he'd posted this morning that he got like crazy efficiency from it. Was it 1.8 kilowatt hours
for
per
10 miles,
10 miles or something. Yeah,
which is mental. Yeah,
that's really good for a car of that size and weight, isn't it?
yeah. I know he lives in Orkney, but I think he's picked it up from somewhere in the UK and he's driving it back. So that's quite cool.
I guess he's on completely clear roads for most of it and just at constant 70 or something. But still, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
We'll have to invite him on, actually, to talk about the used EV scene and the auctions, etc.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on in the used EV market in terms of deals and different things. And it's an interesting topic.
Just a callback to the Johnny Smith thing. Obviously, Jonathan got it for him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And he was on... Jonathan was on Johnny's channel as well, just as a little intro in the video, which is quite cool. So
Yeah,
very nice.
Cool. What else has been happening?
There's Geely. So when we mentioned
Geely. Yes.
new brands and things, Geely are the parent company behind many of sort of well-known brands like Volvo, Polestar, Lotus and stuff. But what I suppose in the UK we might not realise, but they actually have their own brand of vehicles in China. They have Geely and then Geely Galaxy as well. But they're actually bringing their EX5 SUV to the UK later this year. And it's already sold, which is quite funny, as a Proton in other markets.
Mm-hmm.
But it's being imported here as a Geely, which is quite interesting. It's not a overly interesting looking car, to be fair. It is quite generic looking. I'll put some pictures on screen if you're watching this podcast. But it's fairly run of the mill sort of thing. 250 miles of range and that kind of thing. But as we mentioned before, it's always quite interesting to see new brands enter the market, and this will only be the start of what they're doing. They'll have more stuff coming, I'm sure. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not massively excited by it just because it's another fairly generic-looking thing with 250 miles of range, and I can't see like a unique selling point for it at the moment. And I think it's a rebadge something else, but I'll be quite interested in them as a brand, however, and see what comes next. But I think a lot of these brands need to start coming in all guns blazing a little bit. They need to, like that Moda 9, that was the first thing I'd driven by a Moda, and I was just blown away by the quality of it. I thought it was good. It was superb, and I think they either need to come in like that, or come in dirt cheap, or come in quirky as hell, or with an unbelievable range, or some really special USP. Because lots of people say, well, all the legacy brands are going to die off because the Chinese are coming. But I think some of the Chinese brands will die off if they just keep coming with the similar versions of essentially the same idea.
Yep. They all look the same. Doesn't really make much sense for a lot of people. So, yeah. But Geely have got a fair amount of cars underneath their belt that they already sell in China directly. So there's room for new models. There's saloon cars and lots of SUVs. So there's the possibility there of other things coming. So yeah, I think that's sometime later in the year that hopefully we get to drive and see what they're doing. What's quite interesting though is it's been tailored for Australia and the UK. So Lotus is part of the same group. So Lotus has had, in the UK anyways, had a little bit of a hand in making sure it drives properly, for what we understand. So hopefully it won't be as generic as we think it might be, but hopefully should drive quite well as well. So
yeah. I mean, everything that brand's been behind so far has been pretty solid, isn't it? So
yeah.
Sorry if you heard me texting there or anything, folks, but we've got a guest. We're actually, look how organised we are. We're pre-recording a podcast momentarily for when we're on holiday, not together. We're just friends. It's just a double room in Brighton, but don't read into that. So yeah, and he's messaging me about that. So sorry for my abject unprofessionalism.
Oh yeah, the other day, did you see this thing from Octopus where they had this sort of tech energy summit announcement a few weeks ago, and they announced this sort of all-inclusive EV plan for £299 a month.
Yeah,
I found that. Yeah, I wondered what you thought about that, because obviously you're Mr. Leasing.
yeah. I didn't. To be honest, I couldn't find any sort of meat on those particular bones. So I haven't looked into it a great deal. They were bombarding me with emails about like a flat rate thing where you just pay a chunk every month and it's all your EV charging's covered. But I can't remember. It didn't excite me anyway.
Yeah.
But
this was
with all the smart stuff. I prefer just to set the car to charge overnight.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, whichever car I have, I'm constantly getting messages on my phone to say that it started charging and it stopped again.
Yeah.
And I don't see the point, because I can always get to my desired percentage just plugging it in and it starting to charge at 11:30 at night. So
yeah, this was £299 a month, and you get a Dolphin plus a charger plus all the charging for that month as well. Which I don't know.
Is it insured?
I don't know. Yeah, the stuff they announced from that event, there hasn't been much information. Like, they announced their own EV charger as well, like an Octopus branded EV charger, which there isn't any, as you say, meat on the bones with it. There's no real sort of information.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
Yeah.
and I thought I always sort of, I don't know, sort of like to keep my powder dry a little bit until all these things have been fleshed out, because there's a marketing announcement and then there's sometimes a full announcement, and the two are quite different.
Yeah, I thought it was relatively interesting to see what they're doing. Their own branded charger has got the potential to be quite interesting, because apparently it will support vehicle to grid over Type 2.
Oh, okay.
Because at the moment it's only with CHAdeMO, isn't it? So
yeah.
But again, we need some more information on that. But yeah, just a little bit of charging news, I suppose.
And I guess it'll play nicely with solar and everything as well. You'd think it will anyway.
Yeah. I'm actually in the process of trying to move to Octopus at the moment. Because, but hopefully at some point I can get that sorted. But because it, as an energy provider, looks really interesting. Just the whole experience with the app looks quite nice. So try to get that sorted at some point. So
yeah, it's everything seems to just be quite easy with Octopus compared to with some previous suppliers I've had. That's for sure. And if you've got an EV, it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. Yeah.
Obviously, at home I use the granny charger, you call them, which works fine for me. The car sits, when I got an EV in, it just sits there for 18 hours at a time sometimes, and that's enough to get it charged up. So for my lifestyle, it works quite well. So
yeah. That's probably it for this one.
I think so.
Yeah. Hope everyone's enjoyed it. Listen to us waffle. Please don't forget to leave a review, subscribe, follow, share, all those kind of good things. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, give us a subscribe there. But we're desperately trying to build that, and it's slow going, so any help is appreciated. And where can people find you, Alex?
They can find my website, theinterface.uk. There's all sorts of stuff on there, like technology news and electric car news and all that sort of good stuff. And also the Interface Cars, which is my YouTube channel, where I review all sorts of stuff, and mostly EVs now, but all sorts of different kinds of automotive-related content. So there you go. Cool. What about you?
Yeah, you check me out on my YouTube channel. It's definitely Not a Guru, and my website is notaguru.co.uk.
Sweet. Yeah, thanks everyone, and I guess we'll see you again next time.
Bye-bye.